Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're back with another familiar face of the Reddit podcast. We're joined by Jared, Captain Deadpool Warren. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, brother. How you doing?
Great. Here's the question I had. I don't want to be a dick. Now, you are the champion of BKFC. Do you enjoy being referred to as the former champion, or is it kind of like a slap in the face? And like how do you feel about that whole like former champion? Like you hear it a lot.
Yeah, no, it doesn't bother me. It's true, and shit. At least it showed that I, at least at some point, made it to the top, and now I'm just on my climb back up there.
Okay, so going forward, yeah, it's one of those things. I was like, well, maybe they don't want to be reminded of that type of thing. But yeah, it's good to know. Like, hey, yeah, I was there, and I'm gonna get back there.
Yeah, it's real life, man. I just take it all with a grain of salt.
Okay, so one of the last time we talked, it was right after the hurricane. Like your house was kind of destroyed. How is all that coming along? Like, is everything back to normal?
Yeah, man, I'd say 95% done, and it actually has been 95% done for the last few months. It's just some cosmetic things that need to get finished up that I haven't been too motivated to do because I, got other things in the works, but it's very back to being livable and comfortable, the important stuff. So that's good at least.
Isn't it funny how like you could almost finish, but then you're like, oh, I just need to touch that up, but I'll do that another day, and then it just
Yeah.
sits there and sits there.
Yeah, when it was about like, getting back into the house, I was, beyond motivated. All I did was work, work, work as much as I could on it. And but then once you get back inside and like that pressure's gone, you're like, okay, I can take a beat here, and I can wait till you know, I feel like it.
How's the firefighter stuff going? Did you start taking some time off yet, or is that coming soon? Like, for those that don't know, Jared is a firefighter, and like he has to take time off to prepare for his fight. So,
Yeah, if you can anybody knows fire a good telltale well to know that if someone is, on vacation or taking a break is you got some facial hair, because it's one of those terrible, annoying, ridiculous rules that we have to shave every shift, and I despise it. But yeah, so I've had the last about week and a half off, and I'll be off until after the fight, so around 3 weeks in total. But yeah, it's been great over there, man. They got me doing some new stuff over there. I'm actually a acting captain now, they call it, in the fire department. So they use me in that position a lot. So of course all my coworkers are like, acting Captain Deadpool, always making jokes and stuff. So but I've been enjoying that, man. It's been fun.
like you're becoming more of like the corporate guy, I guess, like more of like the white collar guy. Are you enjoying that role a little more, or you kind of miss like being one of the guys?
Oh no, no, it's not white collar. So you're
Oh, okay.
still completely hands on. It's just when you are the captain, you're the guy in charge for the day, on the fire engine and stuff. So yeah, you're running all the exact same calls, just in a little bit of a different role as, kind of supervisory and keeping an eye on things, as opposed to, being the one that interviews all the patients and all that stuff.
So what's the deal with the facial hair? Why can't you have that?
It's, man, so there, in my opinion, there's a technical reason and there's a real reason. The technical reason is they say that if we have facial hair, that our face mask that we wear into fires and stuff, that it won't seal properly across your jawline.
Okay.
Okay. But to me, like, it's bullcrap, because it's called positive pressure ventilation. So like if your mask does come loose for any reason, air is being pushed out and smoke can't get back in. So it really doesn't matter. So the real reason is they want us all to look clean cut, and this gives a reason that we can't bitch about it, because, oh, you'll die. But you know,
Okay, let's talk about your upcoming fight. So I interviewed Creer yesterday. He said he thinks this is actually a really dangerous fight for himself because you are coming off a loss. You have a lot to prove. You're the champion. You're coming off a loss. You're never going to be hungrier than you are at this moment. Is that true?
oh, absolutely, man. Always got, something to prove, and now I just have something to prove in kind of a different manner. Up until the last fight, I hadn't lost in, a couple years. And I think the last time I had, I was going into the first Jomi fight, so that was like a big opportunity for me because back then he was, still undefeated and stuff, and champion from a different organization. Um, so I was very hungry to get back in there. And same thing, even, I don't want to say the last fight was, you know, luck or fluke or anything like that. Like, he caught me. There's no excuses. But I am confident that, it's a one-time deal. I mean, it was just a punch I didn't see coming. And I don't think lightning would strike twice. So I gotta do what I gotta do to get that title shot again. And, I haven't been made any promises or anything, but I'm still ranked in the top of the division. And with me having, past history and beef with both, Richmond and Dyer, I uh I see it making the most sense of me getting to fight the winner of those two.
That's kind of what Creer said. He thought it was the number one contender. So he goes, he thinks that whoever wins this fight clearly gets to fight for the belt next. Who do you see winning without throwing too much shade? Who do you see winning the Dyer versus Richmond fight? Do you have a prediction for that, or?
Yeah, man, I honestly like the way it'll go is you know, I think Richmond is the clearly better fighter. A lot more technical and stuff. Um Dyer's just big for the weight class, you know what I mean? He just kind of comes out and goes crazy and whatnot. So I think Richmond will come out and piece him up real well. Um, Dyer will probably try and do something illegal to save his own ass and hope that the ref doesn't see it. And if he does see it, we'll have another no contest on our hands because that's kind of like his. He has more of those than wins, I think. And if not, Richmond just picks him apart and finishes him. So
Is it all kind of fun and games, little jabs there, or is there some real heat between you and Dyer?
oh no, I don't like him, man. I used to. He was he was kind of cool like back in the day after our first fight, we shot the shit afterwards and got along well. And then after the rematch when he did the hit me in the back of the head after the bell thing and caused that no contest crap was just you know, over the line. Not so much just that he did that because like yeah, it sucked. No one wants a no contest. But afterwards he's like, I'm sorry, dude. He's like, I was exhausted, you cracked me. He's like, I was seeing stars. He goes, I just did whatever I could to get out of there. So he like, he admitted that he did it and then he apologized. And then I think it was like the very next day he like messaged me on Facebook and he's like, hey man, he's like I'm gonna post some controversial stuff to try and get my fans hyped up. And I'm like, dude, I was like, I know what you're doing, but I was like, I'll let you know that I don't like it. And he's like, oh, I get it. But then he did it anyways, and he started doing the whole, oh man, they screwed me, and I should have had the belt, and blah blah blah, and you know, he had nothing to tie to his name other than me because I had been climbing the ranks, and you know, he hadn't been doing anything but no contest and beating 50-year-old men. So yeah, that shit went on for too long, and I was just over it, man. I'm the same guy. If I'm on camera, if I'm talking to you just one on one, or if I'm at work, best friend, people I don't like, I act exactly the same, and I just don't like fake people. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way. So yeah, so I just don't like fake bullshit, whatever. So definitely not a fan of that guy.
Good to know. Okay, so going into this fight against Creer, I mean, did you guys come up with anything special? Is it one of those things like you do you feel like you're just that much better that you didn't necessarily you're going to come up with a game plan for him? You're just going to focus on doing what you do well, or did you come up with a game plan for Creer?
It's kind of business as usual in the sense of the coaches and I do look at tape of the opponent and maybe just come up with a rough draft of a game plan, but it's not the top priority. It is more like you just said with the whole don't worry about what they're going to do. Worry about what you're going to do. Because people do change, and they will try and fight differently time to time. So it's just looking at film with somebody is just a little extra tool to have in the toolbox. But no, I haven't like changed anything about my own training or anything for this fight.
Okay, so I got to spend a lot of time with the shift guys out there in Dubai. Like I feel like I got to come to Tampa at some point. But my wife and I were talking about trying to get to this fight. We had some stuff come up, some medical stuff. So I don't think it's going to happen. But I mean, that's the plan. Is we want to come to like one of those shift cards in Tampa or Clearwater and go support you guys.
Yeah, dude, it'd be awesome if you come out. You can visit our little sweat box of a gym, and come and see the old shift family.
So let me ask you this. I was told that you guys' gyms are kind of in a rough neighborhood, and there was a guy in a Kia that rolled by, and you guys thought you guys were about to be in a drive-by shooting with this dude who rolled by in the Kia. Is that true?
I uh I don't remember anything specifically about a guy in a Kia, but it sounds kind of par for the course. But yeah, the neighborhood is a little rough, but I feel like that's where like the best boxing gyms always are. Just a hole in the wall of people who are coming there because they want to fight and they want to scrap and get better. You know, um, like by comparison, MMA gyms have gotten kind of different. They're so like mainstream, and a lot of tradition there, and wipe your feet before you get on the mats, and a lot of people just wanting to go play jujitsu or whatever. But boxing is just kind of a different animal altogether. Like when you go to spar at a boxing gym, it's a totally different atmosphere than any kind of martial arts gym. It's it's not people just being quiet and respectful. It's usually the opposite. It's usually being loud, disrespectful, everybody talking crap while you're fighting, and but it makes it fun. It makes it hilarious, honestly. But yeah, it's definitely a couple different worlds there.
Your guys' coaches are cool, and they send me some videos. Say, "Hey, we're sparring today. Check out these videos." You guys go hard. Like I can't believe how hard when you guys go like at your gym, but when you guys travel to other gyms and stuff, you guys go hard. Is it one of those like it's almost a harder fight when you guys practice than it is once you get in the ring?
Yeah, man, and I mean at the very least it's equal too, because yeah, when we spar amongst our own people, we're going light and we're working on, technique and everything. But yeah, anytime you go to, what we refer to as outside sparring, go to somebody else's gym, it's already, a known thing. Like, hey, you and I are gonna go as hard as we can. We're gonna try and knock each other out. And and it does, it's kind of like, the closer you can get to practicing like you play, you know. So yeah, it gets a little rough.
Okay, so they just announced Mundell's fighting today. Is it a benefit to be able to have Mundell in training camp at the same time as you are? I mean, is it or is it kind of a hindrance because maybe the coaches are always focusing on you, but now Mundell's got a fight coming up, so they have to split time.
No, but between having three coaches, we everybody gets plenty of attention, everybody gets plenty of work in, Um but yeah, having Dave there, and any of the other fighters for that matter, is always a benefit. Different, everybody's got their own little personal style to them. So when we do do our in-house sparring and stuff, it gives you different looks and different things to work on. And you know and Dave being who he is at the top of the fighting food chain, like it's definitely a benefit to have him around.
Okay, so I know you guys have joked in the past, but has there been any talk about you and Dave switching? I know it was like, well, as long as we're both champions, we're gonna stay at the weights we are. But now that you aren't the champion at 85, is there any talk, or it's still the game plan as usual? He'll stick 75, you're at 85.
We haven't talked about it recently, but like it has crossed my mind, because I mean shit, it's hard for me to like keep on enough weight sometimes to
Right.
fight for 85. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I've kind of always like prided myself on being the guy that doesn't starve himself or cut calories and just fights bigger people. So if I did cut down, that might put me in this category as everybody else. But he's been so dominant in there, like, I'm sure he's fine sticking around with it. And he has gotten to where he, like, in between fights, walks around a bit leaner than he used to, so he doesn't have to
Sure.
cut as much. So I would say more than likely we'll probably stick where we are, unless I know for him, like, if he can fight Mike Perry, he'll do it at 250. He doesn't care. He'll do it at any any weight class he can, because I think Perry's been a little vocal about 185 being
Right.
his forte. So I know he'll bounce up in a second for that.
Okay, you're a guy who has quite a few fights. If you were to say, like, of all the people that you fought in BKFC, who's the hardest hitter?
Um, Hardest hitter. I don't know, man. I feel like all us, you know, grown men hit pretty hard. You know what I mean?
I know
So,
you break machines, but
um, but yeah, I mean, no one's really, like, stood out to me as like a super power punch. I mean, like, I've said this a few times where uh Ritzman's shot, obviously did the most damage, but that was more so because of the placement and the timing. Like, catch me in the
sure.
temple, like, it wasn't necessarily a hard shot. Like, it didn't leave a mark, it didn't leave a bruise. It was just right in the perfect spot. But you know, like I said, some of the other guys, some people are just big, but they don't like Dyer. Like I said, he's a big guy, but he really doesn't like use technique, so it doesn't correlate as much. But at the end of the day, like I said, we're all guys that are, you know, one little fuck up and it can be a early night. It's a very unforgiving sport.
Okay, so take us through, like you just said, he caught you in the right spot. He hit you in the temple. Like, is it one of those, like, your legs, like your head knows what to do, but your legs won't cooperate? Like, what, like, in the ring, what's going through your mind? I know you're like, I saw you trying to get up, like you were trying to get up, but like I said, is it your head that won't cooperate or your body won't cooperate?
Um, when he knocked me down the first time, there was like a couple seconds of true, like, confusion, because I didn't see the punch coming. So um, he definitely got me in the right spot. But yeah, I don't know, your mind or your spirit or whatever always wants to get up, and I did. And even, like, when he knocked me down the second time, um in my mind, I felt like I could still have gotten up again. And I didn't get the count on the second one. I was sitting up and awake, but he waved it off. So I'm assuming, whatever, however my face or reaction looked was something he didn't like. But I'm not bitching about that either, because
Sure.
even though, like, you always want to get up and you always want to keep pushing, he's doing his job. You know what I mean? He doesn't get anything out of it by stopping it early or anything like that. He's trying to protect us or anything. So um just kind of is what it is.
All right. Well, I know you have sparring coming up, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I love talking to you. I can't wait to talk to you again. Get this win. We'll talk again. I'm excited. Like, hopefully we see, if everything goes according to plan, it'll be you versus Richmond, right?
Yeah, that'd be great, man, to get that rematch in there. I still like the guy. I just feel like I have some unfinished business.
All right. Oh, shift. All right, buddy. Thanks so much for your time. Love your team. You guys are the best, and can't wait. Oh, did you want to do any
Man, I
shout outs
appreciate
before,
you.
real quick? I forgot to give you a shout out time. Is there, I see Full Blast. Like, is there
Oh
any
yeah.
other sponsors?
Always want to shout out Full Blast, man. They're awesome, and always taking care of us, and they pretty much sponsor all the shift guys now, so it's been pretty cool. They're definitely top tier sponsorship to have.
Cool. Is there anybody else?
Not off the top of my head.
Cool. All right, man. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thanks, brother. You too.
Bye.